So some people say that YouTube Shorts are the best thing in the world and that everybody should do them. Then others say that YouTube Shorts will kill your channel. So what's the real truth? Well, coming from someone who has several different channels and has one channel with over 1 million subscribers myself, I've experimented a ton with Shorts and short form videos on other platforms as well over the years. And I've also done a lot of long form videos. Plus I've taught a ton of people, including my own brother, Zach, who I just got from zero to a full-time income in just over a month on YouTube. So I have a very strong opinion on the question of whether YouTube Shorts are actually bad for your channel. And the answer is, drum roll, it depends. It really depends on the situation. It depends on what type of shorts you're posting. And we're gonna go over a few examples to show you when it's a good idea to do shorts and when it's not a good idea. So this channel, for instance, said that YouTube Shorts killed their channel, right? They literally said that it harmed their channel more than it helped. So did this channel and this channel too. But what do all of these channels have in common? Well, the value proposition of the shorts is completely different than the value proposition of the long form content. But you might be asking me, Shane, what is a value proposition? Well, it comes from the business world, and it's a clear statement that explains why someone should choose your product or service over others. Think of it as the answer to the question, what's in it for me? But in this case, it's why they should choose your videos over other people's videos, not a product or service. Now, what's another way of saying this? The problem that Shorts solves is different than the problem that long form content solves. And so therefore, it's basically like having a completely different audience for shorts and for long form. Here's an example. There's a YouTube creator, Jenny Hoyos, who is incredibly good at short form video. So she's basically known for creating super engaging vertical shorts videos. And she crafts bite-sized stories. And she shares her own techniques and results, and she offers insights into building an audience fast. Now, the value proposition of her short form content is fast-paced story summaries, catchy did you know bits, and basically this just makes people curious and it entertains them. However, the value proposition of her long form, or at least her attempt to do long form, is deeper storytelling or analysis, and it aims for sustained attention. Now, if we look at her long form videos, she doesn't get that many views, right? 17,000 views on a video 2 months ago. Then she didn't do one before that for 11 months or 9 months. It surprised my mom with her dream vacation, only about 79,000 views. So this is tiny for a channel of 9 million subscribers. And by the way, this is not me hating on Jenny at all. Like, I think what she's doing is great. I'm just making the point here that her shorts audience, the audience that she grew from shorts, they don't watch her long form content, or at least a lot of them don't. And in the last 28 days, Jenny got 105 million views, but only 536,000 of them were from long form content. Over 100 million of them were from shorts. And from all those shorts views, even though she's getting 100 million views, she only made about $2.4 to $8,000. Now, we're gonna get into the monetization side of things later on because that might require me to put my tinfoil conspiracy theorist hat on. But the point here is her long form content has a completely different value proposition than her short form content. And although she's relatively successful with her short form content, it's not translating to long form views. Now, because of the fact that she makes entertainment content, she's basically solving the problem of boredom. But there's many, many different ways to solve that problem. So in that case, you do have to dig a little bit deeper when it comes to figuring out the value proposition. And you'll usually find that the emotions that are caused by short form content are different than the emotions caused by long form. And they attract a completely different audience as well. In fact, even the greatest YouTuber in the world, Mr. Beast, tried uploading shorts on his main channel, got bad results, and instead started uploading them on his second channel. And don't even get me started on the money. Let's take an example of a shorts creator that's absolutely crushing it, Zach D Films. And when I say he's crushing it, I mean he is absolutely crushing it. He is getting an absolutely mind-boggling 2.9 billion views a month. And almost all of them are coming from his shorts content. And from these 2.9 billion views a month, he's making about $29,000 to $118,000 a month. So you might be thinking, Shane, that's amazing. What do you mean shorts isn't good for monetization? But here's the thing. Zach D Films is probably getting more views than any other shorts channel on the internet. In January of this year, I got 6.5 million views and I made $77,000 in AdSense. So me, definitely not being one of the highest earning creators that makes long form content, probably made more money in AdSense than Zach D Films, even though he's probably #1 when it comes to shorts. And the crazy thing is, my business doesn't even rely on AdSense. Now, if you look at Asmongold, for instance, he gets about 144 million views, but they're all long form. And he makes $356,000 to $987,000 a month with a single channel. Now, the thing is, he has multiple channels. So his second channel, Asmongold Clips, for instance, makes almost as much money, $311,000 to $863,000 a month. And you'll notice he has exactly 0 shorts views, and he has 120 million long. And on his main channel, 139 million long form views. So Asmongold is getting far less views than Zach D Films, and yet he's making far, far more money. And he's basically doing it just reacting to random clips around the internet. So can you make money with shorts? Sure. But Zach D Films is probably the #1 shorts creator on YouTube right now, and he's making far, far less than long form content creators. And also with shorts, you can't put links because YouTube removed that. So the only way you can monetize is from AdSense. Now you might be asking yourself, Shane, why does shorts pay so much less than long form? Well, this is where I have to put my little tinfoil conspiracy theorist hat on and make some guesses. First of all, if you look at other platforms that do shorts type content like Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, you'll notice that the way they do ads is completely different than long form YouTube. You see, when you make long form content, you get 55% of the AdSense money, and YouTube gets 45%. However, when you make shorts, the ads show up in the main page feed. So basically, you'll be swiping through the shorts and the ads show up between the shorts, or they might show up while you're scrolling down through the feed. And it's the same thing on Facebook and Instagram. And so the ads aren't necessarily attributable to your video. And because of this, YouTube likely doesn't have to share 55% of the AdSense revenue with you. Instead, they probably only have to share about 10%. And so why is YouTube so aggressively pushing people to do shorts? Well, it might be because they possibly make 90% of the AdSense revenue instead of 45% with long form content. And that also explains why you make so much less money when you post shorts, even though you might get way more views. So no one should ever do shorts and it's a complete waste of time, right? Wrong. Like I said before, it depends. And I'll give my opinion on whether you should use shorts for your channel at the end. But first, let's take a look at some channels that are using shorts incredibly well. First is Law by Mike, and he is one of the only creators I've seen that successfully bridges the gap between long form and short form content. Now, if you look at his view stats profile, you'll see that he gets about 696 million views a month. And this is actually a down month for him. And he's making about $16,000 to $53,000 a month. And he is getting most of his views from shorts. However, he's getting a few million long form views as well. And if you look at his long form videos, he's getting a really good amount of views. For instance, 341,000, 786,000, 2.3 million. 10 million views on a video that was posted 3 months ago. And many of his long form videos are 10, 20, even 30 minutes long. So he's clearly able to bridge the gap. So how is he doing this? Well, first, he makes educational mass market content that's highly entertaining and has a tiny little bit to do with law. The value proposition of his content is he's answering interesting law related questions in incredibly entertaining ways. For instance, his most viewed short is Jail versus Prison. What's the difference? Now, this is something that just about anyone would be curious about. And he does this with his shorts, and he does it even more with his long form content. For instance, in his videos, crimes that YouTubers got away with, like who wouldn't click on that, right? Who wouldn't want to know crimes that YouTubers got away with? And in his shorts, he often does over the top demonstrations just to emphasize a small point or make it entertaining. So here's an example of an over the top demonstration in his long form content, right? So in this video, he literally crashes a car into another car in the first minute of the video just so he can ask a car crash lawyer what to do in that situation. That is an over-the-top demonstration. Now, another thing is that his colors and branding are the exact same with shorts and long-form content. Just as an example, he's always wearing the blue suit in every video. He has fast cuts and over-the-top demonstrations. And notice he's not making any videos breaking down the intricacies of the law or lawsuits like a channel such as Legal Eagle. Why? Because it's a completely different value proposition. If Law by Mike did that, his shorts audience likely wouldn't be interested in that long-form content. Because even though it's great content either way, the value proposition is totally different. Deep dives on legal intricacies versus short, bite-sized entertainment-based content with a little bit of legal education for Law by Mike. So Law by Mike was able to bridge the gap, but is this common? No, it's not. For instance, you can see that Zach D Films is growing at an unbelievably fast rate. Over 600,000 subs in the last month with 2.9 billion views. And if you look at his long-form content, it actually did very well when he posted it. But his last post was 1 year ago. Why? Why did he quit posting long form when he was getting 11 million views on a single video? Because he was basically running 2 different channels at once, 2 completely different audiences. So it's almost like he was making content specific to YouTube and Instagram, except it was all on YouTube. So it's doubled the amount of work. And his shorts content isn't synergistic with his long form content. It's completely different. So instead of half-assing 2 things, he decided to whole-ass 1 thing. And it makes a lot of sense. You only have so many hours in the day, and if creating 2 different types of content on essentially 2 different platforms isn't synergistic, then why would you do it? So I think you get my point here. And the answer to the question, are YouTube shorts actually bad for your channel, is it depends, but usually yes. And this is assuming you're trying to do both long form and short form at the same time. If it's just short form, then you can make that work. But realize that you're probably not gonna make nearly as much money as if you were making long form content. However, are they actually bad for your channel? Is it actually going to hurt your long form content if you start making shorts? Because maybe your channel is like Law by Mike, where you can actually bridge the gap. Well, let's dive into that. There are 3 things you absolutely need to do in order to bridge the gap from YouTube Shorts. 1, you need to make sure the content is the same. So the branding, the format, etc. 2, you need to make sure it solves the same problems. And 3, you need to make sure it creates the same emotions. Now, if you can do those 3 things, then you can successfully bridge the gap between shorts and long form content. But it's much easier said than done, because generally speaking, shorts content just isn't the same as long form content. However, even if you don't decide to take short form seriously and you just focus on long form, there are still some benefits of doing short form content. 1, it's a lower barrier to entry for testing out ideas. You can very quickly make short form content and see how interested your audience is in the content. Then, once you verify their interest, you can make longer form content. 2, you can automatically click longer form content and make shorts with tools like Opus AI. And it's actually really good. Like, I was really impressed with how good Opus is. It literally just selects the juiciest clips and makes pretty good shorts out of it. And this actually works because you're just taking little bits of your long form content, and that's probably gonna make a lot of people actually interested in watching your long form content. But it's probably not gonna get that many views because you're just taking clips from your longer form content, so it's not specialized to shorts. And then 3, if you have a brand new channel with absolutely no traction, I think doing some shorts and getting a few thousand subscribers in some cases might help you with social proof and probably save you a little bit of time, because it is much easier to create shorts than long form, right? So basically what this means is if someone comes and watches your channel and they see that you have like 50 subscribers, there's a good chance they're just gonna click off immediately because of social proof. They see, okay, he only has 50 subscribers, like no one else is watching this person, why should I do it? But if they go to your channel and they see that you have 3,000 subscribers, they're much more likely to give you a chance. So in some cases, it might make a little bit of sense to make short form content just to get a few thousand subscribers, and it might save you a little bit of time. But just realize that when you start making long form content, most of those people that followed you for the short form content are not going to translate over. So always remember this, it's easier to get attention with shorts, but it's significantly easier to make money with long form content. And if you want to have a sustainable YouTube channel, you need to be able to make money from it. So if you are gonna do this, just keep that in mind. Now, if you need help with picking your niche, picking YouTube ideas, or properly monetizing your channel, because these are the three things that so many people out there struggle with, then I actually have a GPT that I created that's been trained on thousands of hours of my coaching and my philosophy. And it's almost like as if you were asking me questions directly. And you can check that out down in the description and the pinned comment below. So if you're thinking in your head, I don't have time for long form content, first of all, you're probably wrong, because there are ways of making long form content that don't take that much time. But let's just say, hypothetically, you're right. If the question is, don't make content at all, or make content with shorts, then you should do shorts, of course. So for my final recommendations, 95% of YouTube creators should not mix long form and shorts, and they should just focus on long form. 4% of you should just do shorts alone, and 1% of you can actually mix shorts and long form content. And if you think about it, YouTube is the long form platform for content creators. Like other creators on TikTok, Instagram, even Vine back in the day, dreamed of getting their audience over to YouTube because they know it's way better for monetization. Now, the YouTube grind can be merciless, but if you do it right, it can unlock a lifestyle that's so much better than just about any business model out there. Just like for my client, Sean, who was able to scale to over $500,000 on YouTube, making educational content, helping other people. And Sean was one of the many clients that asked me the questions about shorts, whether it's worth it or not. And for his channel, it's not really worth it. Now, does he occasionally post a few shorts here and there? Yeah, he gets about 41,000 views a month from shorts, but most of his views come from long form content. And if you look at his channel, it shows that he's only making about $1.9 to $5.2 thousand a month. And that is the beautiful thing about educational niche content. You don't have to rely on AdSense, and you actually don't have to get that many views to make a ton of money. In reality, he's making over $500,000 a month. And he's doing that because he's monetizing correctly. Now, if you're still confused about which one of those creators you are, whether you're the type of person who should do long form content, only short form content, or mix the two together. And also maybe you're confused about what niche you should choose or how you can monetize correctly, and you want to save yourself a ton of time, effort, and money, then I have a one-on-one session that you can sign up for with one of my YouTube coaches, where we will figure out where you are right now, where you want to go to, we'll make a plan to get there, and we'll see if we're a good fit to work together or not. So don't waste years banging your head against the wall. Sign up for that session down in the description and the pinned comment below. And also check out this video interview I did with Sean, breaking down exactly how we scaled his channel to over $500,000 a month by clicking right here.